Hi, I'm Jake with Down to Earth Trekking, and today I'm going to be covering my backpacking clothing. And if this is your first time joining me, welcome. This video is the 6th video in a series of videos where I go over all the gear that I bring with me on a weekend backpacking trip. And if you'd like to check out the other videos in this series, you can do so after you've watched this video. Real quick, before I talk about my clothing, I need to cover layering, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's wearing multiple layers of clothes that each perform a certain function, like keeping you cool, keeping you warm, or protecting you from the elements. So typically there's 3 layers: a base layer, a middle layer, and then an outer layer. And each one of these layers performs a certain function. And the base layer, its primary function is to wick or remove moisture from your skin. This is going to help keep you cool. So any kind of shirt made out of a synthetic blend or wool will get the job done. The one fabric that you want to avoid is cotton, because cotton will absorb moisture, but it won't evaporate it very well. So because of that, it will just end up getting soggy and wet, which is a recipe for chafing, and that's something best avoided with backpacking. And so the second layer is your middle layer, and the primary function of this layer is insulation. So it's going to trap in your body heat and help keep you warm. And there's all kinds of different weights and fabrics you can choose from, between wool and synthetic blends, and fleece and down jackets. So you really got a lot of options out there. And then your outer layer is protection from the elements. So it's going to protect you from wind or rain or snow or anything in between. And there's, again, all kinds of different jackets that you can choose from, and you can even find some jackets that have insulation in them, so that kind of combines your outer layer and your middle layer all into one piece of clothing, which can be helpful for just reducing how much clothing you end up bringing on the trail. Real quick, I just have to say, if you're enjoying the video, hit that thumbs up for me. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. That way you don't miss the next video in this series. And if you know somebody this video could help, please share it with them. All right, now I'm going to cover the clothing that I'm wearing. So for my base layer, I'm wearing a long sleeve button-up shirt by Marmot. It is a fully synthetic shirt, so it's very breathable, quick dry, as well as stretchy and comfortable. So it has everything I could ask for in a base layer. And then my middle layer is a fleece jacket by Tech Gear, and it is also fully synthetic like my base layer, but it's made in a way where the synthetic fabric is actually better at trapping in body heat and insulating me, keeping me warm. And then my outer layer is a rain jacket made by Outdoor Research. It's 100% nylon, so it does a really good job at repelling water and also cutting wind. So it's not rainy today, but it was windy whenever I first came out, so I just wore the rain jacket to act as a wind block. And I'm sure, as you can see, I'm wearing gloves and a beanie. It is quite cold out here today, so the gloves, they help keep my hands warm, and I do prefer the fingerless. That way I still have the dexterity of my fingertips while keeping 90% of my hands warm. These are made out of wool, and then I've got a wool beanie as well, just to help keep my head and ears warm. You lose a lot of heat in the head, so you gotta trap it in. And then you can't talk about clothing without talking about socks and underwear. And with both of these, whatever you do end up getting, I recommend shelling out a few extra dollars to get a high quality pair of socks and underwear, just because you're going to be wearing this gear typically multiple days at a time, and you don't want to just get the cheapest pair of underwear and socks out there, because they definitely might wear on you and cause chafing or maybe even come apart. So invest a little bit, go with a little higher quality pair and get something that's going to last on the trail. So my personal preference for socks is wool. I prefer it because it does a good job at keeping your feet warm, and as well, it doesn't stink as bad as cotton socks or things like that. If you just let them air out and get some sun on them each day, usually the odor is minimal. And then for underwear, I prefer a long boxer brief that is fully synthetic, so it's going to breathe, and I mean, ideally it's antimicrobial just to help keep the odor down as well, but really no matter what you're doing, you're going to be stinking on the trail after a few days of hiking. But with the underwear, I prefer the longer inseam as well, just to help prevent chafing and ideally prevent the underwear themselves from riding up. So I prefer like a 9-inch seam boxer brief, fully synthetic. And then along with all this, if it's a little warmer, I'll also bring a hat just to provide some sun protection for my face and my eyes. And then also, if I'm backpacking and I can spare some extra weight, I will usually bring a set of camping clothes, which is usually just a pair of shorts and a t-shirt that I only specifically wear whenever I'm like in camp. That way I'm not getting sweaty and hiking in that gear all day. I have a specific set of clothing just for camp. And yeah, it's a pair of shorts usually, t-shirt, socks, and then I'll usually bring like a pair of sandals or something so that I have a pair of camp shoes as well. I'm not just having to wear my hiking boots all day. It is nice to kind of get your feet out, let them air out a little bit, let the boots air out. So that's really my clothing setup that I bring with me on a backpacking trip. And typically I don't bring much extra clothing than what I wear. And then I'll also bring the set of camping clothes. That's really it. For a weekend trip, you don't really need to bring much extra like underwear or socks or anything like that. Usually to get away, just wearing what you have, because you're usually only out there for like a night or two. So no need to go crazy with a bunch of extra clothes. All right, well, that sums up all the clothing that I bring with me on a backpacking trip. And remember, there are many different fabrics and weights and styles of clothing to choose from. So at the end of the day, find something that you enjoy using and is comfortable to wear, and then get out on the trail, put that gear to good use. So until next time, keep on trekking.